Now, whether you view this earning $5,000 a month level is high or low really depends on a few things. Firstly, depends on which industry you work in, correct? Your occupation. Secondly, it depends also on which country you work in. For example, in Singapore and in Indonesia, for example, the pay range is definitely going to be different. So later in the comments when you leave them, let's all be nice about it, because I know everybody comes from a different background and it's easy to get carried away by our own realities. But actually this $5,000 salary is quite close to the median salary in Singapore for year of 2021. That figure stood at $4,680. So today in this tutorial I'll be sharing with you, if you earn $5,000, how are you going to save up to $1 million by the age of 65? I'll be giving you a number that you can work towards depending on your age group. And not just that, I'll be showing you if you factor in your bonuses, how it will change that equation. And last but not least, how to get to financial independence, retire early, FIRE, if you combine saving bonuses and saving your active income. So if you're keen to find out, continue watching on. Hi guys, welcome back. Before we get any further, let me first share with you two balancing point of views. The first, regarding this $1 million, is the saying that if you aim for $1 million in 25 years time, what would happen? You think about it. If you set a goal and you work towards it, what will happen sometimes? You miss it, correct? Which means you aim for it and then you only hit 500,000. Therefore, the usual adage is to aim higher so that if you fail it, you get to somewhere that is closer to $1 million. On the other hand, there's this other point of view, whereby if you really get to $1 million because you have built up your career and stuff, then what's up next? Is $1 million the end mark? There's this theory called the hedonic treadmill, which means you will keep aiming for a bigger and bigger number. So balance these 2 points of views, especially when you think about the 1 million that you are aiming towards. Now in today's tutorial, I'll be breaking down into age 25, age 35, and age 45. So hopefully you're close to one of the age groups. I'm of course in the closer to age 35, not 45. And when we talk about saving and investing, there's always this need to discuss the investment rate of return, correct? Now I'll be using 6% as the figure to compound this wealth towards. This 6% really depends on what is the market situation now. If you look in terms of Nasdaq, year to date it's lost 34% already. So it's been a bloodshed over there. So 6% suddenly seems too optimistic. But flashback 2 years ago, 6% seems a pathetic amount. On the other hand, if you look in terms of STI, for example, for a very, very long horizon, since inception of year 2002, you realize that even something boring like STI can potentially deliver 6%. So in investing, there'll be good periods and bad periods. But I think the key rounding point is to get 6% is definitely likely going to come from the equity markets, regardless of which markets you choose to invest in. So the saying is correct. It's always the timing the market more than timing the market. So without further ado, let's start with the first age group, age 25. Now, if you're earning $5,000 age of 25, I think that's pretty good. Most starting grad salary is not there, if I'm not wrong. But when you're age of 25, you do have 40 years to get to age of 65. Now, if you're in employment, you realize that your take-home pay after CPF is only $4,000, correct? And what you need to get to $1 million by the age of your 65 is $500 per month invested consistently, which is only 12.5% of your take-home pay. Now, if you're willing to follow this formula, it is going to get you to that 1 million mark and is mathematically proven. On the other hand, if you're commission basis, you're self-employed like myself, you're in sales, then there's no CPF and $500 per month will be closer to 10% of your income. The bigger problem on the other hand starts to become there's not much in CPF to use for house and stuff. So take note of that. There is another scenario also, which is if you're employed and earn $5,000 per month, but you also have a 3-month bonus that comes with your employment. Now this is pretty common. I think government sector 3 months is pretty realistic on a long-term average. Then what you need to do is to simply save 10% of your take-home pay per month and 10% of your bonus. That will allow you to get to your $1 million by the age of 65. Now on this channel, I do suggest to always be prudent. What if you are able to save up 100% of your bonus? What will you get to? Because take note again, 100% of your take-home bonus is $12,000, correct? Simply invest this $12,000 per year and you'll get to $1.96 million by the age of your 65. Wow. So all it takes is just your bonuses, correct? And $1.96 million. But again, the common question is 40 years time, that is still a very long horizon. Inflation will have eroded the value of 1.96 million. I do get that. 30, 40 years ago, houses were only 50,000, 100,000. Right now, HDB flats are $1 million already. But I guess the key learning point is a bonus. If you save it well, it can definitely help you in your financial freedom journey. So with that out of the way, let's move on to age group of 35. Now, as I said, I'm closer to this age group, but in that case, regardless of which age group, smash the like button. Now, for age of 35, earning $5,000 a month, and if you're in employment, same thing, your take home is $4,000. And if you really want to get to $1 million by the age of your 65, you now need $1,000 instead of $500 that someone in the age of 25 just requires. The simple logic is there is less time for compounding. Now, $1,000 per month now suddenly seems quite big. 25% of take-home pay, correct? A bit painful. So in this situation, I think there is a lot of urgency to be prudent and to keep that prudency even for the years ahead, because 25% for some situations start to get tight. Now, I'd like to elaborate on a further point, which is if you're age of 35, employed, and you have bonuses also, just now we mentioned this situation, what would happen if you save also 100% of your take-home bonus? Let me give you the answer. You can actually reach that $1 million by the age of your 65, because that will still equate to $12,000 per year. So no excuses that you can't save and can't retire. All you need is that $12,000 bonus to save you, even if you are in a sandwich generation, you have elderly parents to take care, you have younger children to feed. Then if you are month to month quite tight, all you need is that bonus. Don't squander it. Unfortunately, you have to prioritize your retirement because that is needed to get you to that $1 million in 30 years. So with that, let's move on to the third category for today, which is if you are in the age of 45, how much do you need to save per month to reach $1 million by your age of 65? Now, I'll leave up every other age group segment because the timeline is quite short already. The numbers will get too big. And once you hear this age 45, you kind of know the situation is quite urgent, or you do need a much bigger active income. If you are still employed also, you realize that your take-home pay is also $4,000, but the amount that you need to save and invest per month will now be $2,164 because your runway is only 20 years. Wow. So it is true. If you start early, you get to compound. Just now it was $500, correct? So easy. But now you need $2,164 just to build up for 20 years to get to $1 million by age of 65. That would equate to 54% of take-home pay. And in my quick understanding, I think it is quite difficult. The more logical way to approach it is to aim for lean fire, for example, just to string your retirement expenses low so that you can retire with a much lower amount than $1 million. At the end of the day, we want to take actionable steps. But there's also this idea of this bonus, correct? What if we save 100% of the bonus and none of the take-home pay? What will we get to? With 20 years of $12,000 bonus, you will only reach $468,000 by the age of 65. That looks quite little for retirement, but hopefully also at the age of 45, you do have some other assets. You've already bought some endowment plans, you have saved up some other assets, and you're not really starting from $0. So hopefully this is a useful wake-up call if things are a bit tight, or a critical message to start early. Now, talking to this point of starting early, I think let's touch a bit back on the Financial Independence Retire Early FIRE. What it requires, especially at the age of 25 and the age of 35. FIRE means retire early, correct? So all other age groups, I'll leave it out. But just in case you are in these two age groups, let me share with you some numbers. At the age of 25, if you can save your full bonus plus $500 a month, let me share with you where you can get to. By your age of 50, which is just 25 years later, you can actually reach $1.05 million. Quite realistic, correct? That's still a decent age to retire at. And all you just need is your full bonus and $500 a month only. Definitely achievable, and it requires you to take your actions today. On the other hand, if you're age of 35 and you're able to save up your full bonuses and you're willing to save and invest also $1,000 more per month, by your age of 55, you will get to $936,000. This is with a 20-year runway, and it gets you almost to that $1 million, correct? And by the age of 55, if you have amounts in your CPF above full retirement sum, then you can still actually consume that amount. So there could be more amounts coming in if you follow this formula. Hopefully it's been a useful discussion so far, and hopefully you've taken away something. As always, smash a like, smash a subscribe. Continue to follow our channel because I'll cover topics on retirement planning and financial independence retire early. Let me give you a bonus since you stuck with me to the end, and that is this chart over here. What do you realize? Median salary for each age group is very different, correct? The first takeaway point that I'd like to share with you further, you need to adjust your salary expectation, especially when you progress through different age groups. When you're young, it's very easy to squeeze out more employment income, but on the other hand, when you're old, you really need to be prudent because the ability to save and invest may evaporate. The second is that if you are struggling to save $1,000 now, looking at this journey whereby the income goes up, eventually comes down on average, you will realize that it is only likely to get harder, correct? Start the journey now. Look at your budgets, look at your expenses. And as always, if you like a tutorial on how to look at expenses, check out this previous video I've done before. Hopefully I can share with you more details on how to build up your own savings and wealth. That's all from here. Thank you for watching. Take care as always. Goodbye.